Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A little update from Ukraine, and that is Zelenskyy cries like a bitch now because the Russians, according to him, are preparing to strike or to knock out Ukraine's natural gas wells. So not only the distribution centers or the producing centers, no. They're gonna hit the origin. Why didn't the Russians think about this, 3.5 years ago? Well, we'll discuss that. So this is the first topic. The second topic, the Russians launched another fairly massive drone and missile attack on Ukraine, and it attacked energy infrastructure in Kharkiv, Chernihiv, and Sumy oblasts. I will show you maps where those are located. Then I have to tell you this. I maybe covered this twice or three times in my videos. Why are people in the West and in Ukraine blaming or trying to portray any attack near the Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant as a Russian attack on it? So when a drone explodes in the vicinity of Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant, the Western media, these jackals, and in Ukraine, they're like, oh my God, the Russians. I have to remind you that Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant belongs to Russia now. So it's like I have my car and I start shooting near my car. Why would I shoot near my car and it's not you shooting at my car? All right, so we're going to discuss this again because something happens at Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant. It's going to be shut down. All right. Another topic is the West now cries like, again, a bitch, that the Russians decided just to do like this towards them. And they're all scared and oy vey, we are in deep doo-doo. And Russia disrupts British military satellites nearly every week. And you've been fighting against Russia. You inserted into the Russia-Ukraine conflict more than 3.5 years ago. Now you can cry as a bitch, cry me a river, I don't care. But we're going to look into it. Because these guys are all, oh my God, Russia is waging a hybrid war against Europe. It's not the other way around, a direct war. So the Europeans are crying in the name of Mr. Merz. Putin is waging hybrid war against Europe. You've been at it for 3.5 years, helping the Ukrainians, fighting Russia through Ukraine. And now Putin is waging a hybrid war? This is an inversion of reality. Maybe I should have started with something else, but I will tell you. And Merz discusses Putin and accuses Putin of hybrid war against Germany. I will discuss all these things because it's an inversion. But I would like to show you what's going on in the mind of if you don't work for your country and work for outside interests, or at least you support outside interests, are you called a traitor? Nevertheless, I would like to wish Vladimir Putin a happy birthday today. Oh, now you can arrest me. All right, today is his birthday, by the way. All right, let's start with the first topic. I know he's a war criminal, but hey, today is his birthday. We should be civil, like in the West, the free world, you know what I mean? Or we should be gracious in loss, like the Greeks taught us, and the Romans. Or we should be vengeful like the guys with the goat herders in the Middle East, an eye for an eye. Which one would you prefer? Or turn the other cheek and let me f*** you again. Which one would you like? Huh? And forgive me after that, because your kingdom is over there. Here, let me rule over you. Like that. Anyway, let's start with the first one. This comes from New Voice of Ukraine. All right. And Zelenskyy says, Russia determined to knock out Ukraine's natural gas wells, Zelenskyy says. Now, this is a big liar. He's in charge of a nation that he's going to destroy. And some Ukrainians still support him, and I would I don't know, assume that many of them will just send him back to mommy, which is New York, not Palestine. No. Moscow will do anything. No, anything means nuclear weapons. It can use a nuclear weapon and fuck all of you up, man. To prevent Ukraine from producing its own natural gas, meaning that Kiev will have to spend out of whose money? You see, all these words this guy is using are just nothing. It's just, okay, spend more from whose money? To import from where? The fuel ahead of winter. Zelenskyy, first, the spending comes from money from the West. Without it, you will be gone. You have been gone anyway, but that's a different story. Will do anything? No, it doesn't. It could use nuclear weapons and blow all your wells, all Ukraine's wells up. But why didn't Russia do this so far? Well, I know it sounds idiotic for some, but for others it sounds logical, and I'm really inclined to believe that's true. Putin said he's fighting a war, a forced war, against his brother, the Ukrainian, against a sister or brother nation. We are the same people, he said. I don't want to destroy you because I know you at this moment. You are owned, shackled, enslaved by foreign forces. So I'm not going to destroy you because I know it's not you. It's these guys over here. So I have to do as much as I can to prevent more escalation. Otherwise, Russia could have been done with Ukraine yesterday. Moscow will do anything it can. No. Can use nuclear weapons? Can. He can. I'm not saying it's legal. Neither does Zelenskyy. Got it? So again, Putin doesn't want to destroy Kiev because he's going to reconstruct those. You understand? It's not going to be the West who's going to try to reconstruct it together with its banking system. So that's why, yeah, he doesn't want to destroy that. You may say, ha, 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 look at those videos with kindergartens, hospitals and all. Well, yeah, accidents happen. Maybe it's also targeted, facilities. Could be. Maybe it's the Ukrainians being in that, putting the military. I have no idea. Things happen. Correct, it happens. But to tell me that does anything, Putin will do anything, that's an imbecile statement. And then to say we have to spend more. Out of whose money? You're a bankrupted country. You have $196 billion public debt. $196 billion, and they have a $6 billion, 6 and 7 between billion dollar deficit every month just to turn on the light. Click, click. Just to turn on, not to move or breathe, just turn on the light on Ukraine. 6 billion a month. So if you say 10 months, it's going to be 60 billion. All right? In a year, it's going to be 72 billion. So it's going very good. Spending out of whose money? IMF? They own you already. Next one. New voice of Ukraine. Russia strikes energy infrastructure in Kharkiv, Chernihiv, and Sumy. So Kharkiv, Chernihiv, and Sumy. Those are all the border line, not in Crimea, but right here. Chernihiv, Chernigov, Sumy, and Chernihiv and Kharkov. These are the three northeastern part of where the Russians attack the infrastructure. Russia attacks Ukraine with over 150 UAVs and 2 Iskander missiles. Hits recorded in 10 locations. So Russian forces attacked Ukraine with 2 Iskander M/KN-23 ballistic missiles and 152 drones of the Shahed, Gerbera, and other types of nights on 6 to 7 October. So you would expect that for his birthday, for the boss's birthday, these guys would have used, 1,000 missiles and 5,000 drones, but no, it didn't happen. So that's why it is. Hits by 2 missiles and 52 UAVs have been recorded in 10 locations, and the fall of downed drones have been recorded in 2 locations. Okay, Ukraine repels waves of Russian drones and missiles. So let's see, what did they do? Approximately 80 of the drones used in the attacks were Shahed. Okay, it's the same information. 2 missiles and 52 drones targeted 10 sites across Ukraine. Damage from, so the 2 missiles reached their target, and it seems like 52 drones worked as well. So let's go with these guys. IAEA records explosions near Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant. So this is Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant. What's this? This is the former reservoir of the Dnipro River between Zaporozhye and Dnipropetrovsk. Or it's, let me show you it on the map. Isn't that? So here it is. It's in Zaporozhye and Dnipropetrovsk right here. So we have, this is Ukraine. This is the Dnipro River into the Black Sea, and here used to be the reservoir. But remember, according to Zelenskyy, and we should believe him, the Novokakhovka right here dam was blown up by, they say, the Russians, and everybody agreed it was the Russians. Therefore, when this dam was blown up, all this is no more. But we go up, 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 and we have here, this is Enerhodar. This is where the power plant is. The picture is taken from the other side of the oblast, which is the Dnipropetrovsk or Dnipropetrovsk oblast, and it is Zaporozhye Enerhodar right here. So this picture is from here. Let me show you right there. Right. So this is from west looking to east. This is south. That is north. So one question for these guys. I know, as a baboon as I am, that nuclear power plants need a lot of water for some cooling reasons. Where is the Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant getting its water? That's why it was built over there. That's why it's by that lake, the reservoir. That's why they're by oceans or by big rivers. They need some cooling. Where are these guys taking from? The Dnipro River? The Dnipro River doesn't flow next to it. Probably it goes in between the whole shit over there. But my point is the explosions near Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant. Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant was taken over by the Russians, I think, on the 6th of March, 2022. So on the 24th, the Russian says, "Ura!" and attacked, invaded. And on the 6th, so it's February, all right, from February to March, about what, 5, 7, 8 days, boom, they got in, more than that anyway, right, from the 24th of February to the March 6th or so, and they took over. Since then, that infrastructure, that power plant, has been in Russians' hands. So when you heard the drones were coming over there, why would it be the Russian drones? It was the Ukrainian drones, most likely, I would say 100%, but nevertheless, oh, it's going to be hurt, it's going to be the damage and so on. How is this power plant functioning? And they cry here, which is very interesting. First, International Atomic Energy Agency is hijacked, just so you know. This is not an independent United Nations body. That's not it is. Team of Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant had heard several series of incoming and outgoing shelling near the facility on October 6th. From where do you think? The Russians? And also they say something else. They say right here, Russia has deliberately disconnected the Zaporozhye Nuclear Power Plant from Ukraine's power grid under the guise of a test and is preparing to link it to its own power system. Well, let me tell you, this right here, now, according to the Russian law and the constitution, is Russia. Right there, you see this? This is Russia, right here. So why should they connect it to the Ukrainians when they probably need it themselves? Now, when the Ukrainians will take it back, they probably will disconnect it to the Russians. But as of now, this is Russia, and Russia will not hit its own power plant. I think. What do you think? Do you think they're going to do it? Well, that's another one. And I'm going to go over some news, just some titles, some headlines from Ukrinform, and the latest news on the war. Just some information. All right, I'm going to read them to you. Don't have to see the titles. And it says here, over 66,000 enemy targets in September, Syrskyi says, the Ukrainians. Note effectiveness of Ukrainian drone systems. Then, Russia attacks cut power to consumers in 5 regions. This is all these are from today. So the attacks, they hit only 10 regions, whatever, but they cut the consumers and power to the consumers in 5 regions. and they are in Chernihiv, Kharkiv, Dnipropetrovsk, Sumy, and Donetsk region. Situation in southern front shows signs of escalation. All right. Russian army strikes energy facility in Prilyuki district, leaving over 61,000 consumers without power. I'm going to show you where that is located. This is the article, and that is located right here. This is Ukraine, and this is in right here in Chernihiv. This is the area where these guys are without energy power, according to the Ukrainians. So this is again in the south of Chernihiv. Chernihiv is this oblast in here. Let me show you. The other one is better, clearer, I would say. So this is Chernihiv, and this is area in the south, right here. This is the town where the 61 something, how many were? 61,000 consumers left without energy. So they must have been, yeah, you know what this is? Can you guess what that is? I suspect there is a military facility, airfield. Let's see, because they say it's the power grid. I want to see over the satellite if indeed it is, or maybe we have a military. Oy vey, what do we have here? Kripa tsopa, moka loka. So maybe the Russians, this is got in bad shape, man. So maybe the Russians did not destroy that. Maybe the Russians destroyed this next to it. And this is like nothing. This is nothing. What's this? Zero, man. This is a dead. An F-16 would never land or take off. This is done. But nevertheless, this is the town they are talking about. Okay, let's go next and read what else these guys have to say. Russia strikes Zaporozhye region. Enemy struck energy and railway facilities in 2 regions at night, in Poltava and Sumy. Russian attacked Kharkiv and 6 other settlements in 24 hours. Russian military strikes 2 educational institutions in Sloviansk. That's because they are bad. Okay. Russian drones hit grain storage facility in Chernihiv. I mean, if you read all these news, the Russians are just criminals, are just attacking, and maybe they are just attacking these facilities, man. These are civilian facilities. But hey, do you remember the war against illegal war waged by NATO against Yugoslavia in 1999? Yugoslavia did not attack NATO. NATO is a defensive organization, okay? Do you remember when these guys in NATO destroyed civilian infrastructure in Yugoslavia? Bridges, I think hospitals and others. You know what the justification was given by NATO general? One specific. You know? He said, those are used by the military as well, and they support the military effort of Slobodan Milosevic, then the president of Yugoslavia. Therefore, that's a legitimate target. What are you saying now? I'm not trying grain. Grain is food that's going to go and support the Ukrainian military. Therefore, legitimate target. No? Let's say a factory that bottles water. The bottled water goes to the Ukrainian army. Therefore, legitimate target. A road in a city. Sometimes there are going to be some transports by the Ukrainian army. Therefore, you can blow it up inside the city, right? When these guys are coming and crossing, how to call it, when they cross towns, I'm talking about the columns, the military columns. What do they use? Roads. Therefore, remember they want to destroy the Kerch Bridge, the Crimean Bridge. They say the Russians are using it for military use as well. Almost every big highway in Ukraine is used by military. The air is used by military. Should they just infect it? All right, so, you know, I made my point. I don't have to go further than that. And it says here that Ukraine reports 193 clashes on front line, 59 attacks repelled in Pokrovsk sector. All right, that would be for this little article. And now we see the Brits, how they cry like bitches because they get a little clink by the Russian bear. That's it. They've been trying to destroy Russia for centuries, but now they are crying because they haven't been doing anything in the past 3 years and a half. No, nothing. No intelligence, no covert operations, not arming, no political, no sanctions, no. But they cry, oh my God, Russia disrupts British military satellites. That's a war, man. That's a declaration of war. Nearly every week, this guy, Tedman, tells us. Well, how do I know he tells the truth? He's a general and he wants to destroy Russia, obviously. He is in the service of the British Crown, who's at war with Russia. Why would I believe him? I don't. All right, next one. And even if that's true, what are you going to do, homie? You got a flick now and you crying like a bitch in your safe space? Correct. Next one. And we have another crier who's doing the inverted reality. Right here. Germany's Merz. Putin is waging hybrid war against Europe. Not Europe wages a direct war on Russia. No, that's not what it is. This is the argument this guy makes. So, hybrid war against Europe and Germany. Merz noted that Putin seeks to turn Europe's political order upside down. If you would have stayed in your little garbage place and do not show your ugly face in Ukraine, I don't think Putin had any problem with you. But you instigated something and you introduced yourself in the equation of Ukraine. You. The Chancellor emphasized that Putin is waging an information war. That means Emil talks too much. Against Europe. He is waging war against Ukraine, and this war is directed against all of Europe. People of Europe, citizens, unite against Putin. Again, he emphasized something that already is true. That's what it implies. That is already true, and he just emphasized it, brought this into attention. Merz stressed that it is in Germany's own interest to defend the political order of open, free societies in Europe. Oh, like in Romania? Like in Moldova? Because it's Europe. Like in Georgia? You overthrow governments, man. You interfere in people's and nations' elections. What's the free societies? In a free society, I should have a right to deny any second world event. But in your country, free society, I go to jail. If someone goes in Germany and says, I don't think the Holocaust happened the way they tell us. You're done. You denied it. If you say, no, I don't think it was 6. I think it was 7 million. Oh my God, even if you make it even worse, like to show that, oh my God, there's more victims here, even then you're denying it. So either way, this is like a dogma. This is, how do you call that in religious terms? Blasphemy. Before they used to stone you to death, right now they imprison you for having the wrong statements. Thank God they cannot read our thoughts yet. Thank God, we will be all dead. All in prison, or working as slaves, picking, not cotton. Have you seen cotton, how cotton is picked? There's a video I saw by a white guy showing how hard it was to pick up cotton. Okay? I want to pick cotton. Not as a slave, though. But when and that's the heat, man, the heat. How do you think this country and other countries, how do you think the peasants in Romania worked? Somehow over there the heat was, the Romanian peasants are working, so God is going to stop the sun from shining that hard and beat the Romanians and transferred its rays all to North America, into Tennessee, let's say. Fuck them. Anyway, so when asked whether Putin is waging rather a war against Germany, Merz replied that he is waging a hybrid war. Yeah, and you guys are waging a direct war. Merz also commented on the growing number of drone-related incidents in Germany and across Europe. I say they're American drones or British drones. Do you have any evidence? As the Russian said, you haven't provided any evidence those were Russian drones. He said that Putin aims to intimidate and spread fear. He links that to the drone-related incidents that are not proven are Russian. So he starts with this, drone related, and he links it to Putin aims. He also noted that Germany would not be intimidated and would defend itself effectively against this threat. But okay, what if they're Americans? Are you going to consider it a threat or a bitch slap? Merz also described Russia as a tough adversary and an enemy of the European political order. I have to remind you, it was not Russia who advanced towards Berlin or Western Europe. It was Western Europe advancing and coming close to Russia. So who provoked who? I mean, you don't have to give interpretations. It's a fact. It's a fact. Now you can say, well, you can do that. No, you can't. You can't, because there are spheres of influence. And if you step on my balls, I will step on your balls as well. Oh no, you can't do that. Well, why not? Because somehow we are good and they are bad. There's nothing in between. We are sometimes good, we are sometimes bad. No, we're all good unless it's about, slavery and we're all bad. But everything else, no, we're good, good. It depends what these guys order us to be. Today they can tell us we should hate Putin. Tomorrow they can tell us to love Putin. Today we have to love that reformed ISIS guy, terrorist, from Syria. We're supposed to love him. Tomorrow, if he doesn't follow the orders, we're supposed to hate him. The same with Netanyahu. We're supposed to love him. And maybe tomorrow we're supposed to do something else. Love him more. So this is a politician for you. Do you think this guy works for the German people? Or do you think he works for higher powers? And here is another new voice of Ukraine. Merz accuses Putin of hybrid war against Germany and recounts clash with Orbán. The same. This guy makes some points that even a kindergartner understands he is lying. He's just a weasel. Right there. Merz said Putin is carrying out information attacks. You know what that is? That is people talk too much. That's what he says. Therefore, and if you say something that you're not supposed to or runs against the free societies, you should be banned. Maybe arrested, maybe, hanged, I don't know. Against Germany and the Russia's war against Ukraine is part of a broader strategy targeting all Europe. I have to remind you, it was Europe who got into Ukraine. It was not Russia got into Ukraine. You understand? Putin wants to turn your political order upside down. Like what? Your tyranny? Oh, meow, what's going on? Thanks for coming. That's why we support Ukraine. Okay, really? So they're telling us that we are the victims in the West. Putin orchestrated everything in Ukraine and we have to defend ourselves because, Putin is going to come to us next. Well, I think that is an infantile explanation of reality. Not infantile, I think it could be criminal. I don't think that's accurate. That's the first thing. I don't think that's accurate. It's an inversion. So now Europe is the victim. Europe fights a hybrid war against Russia as an aggressor. It was not Europe for 3 years and a half, more than 3 years and a half, fighting and supporting someone against Russia. It was Europe who was supposed to guarantee the Minsk agreements that the Ukrainians would implement it. It was the Europeans, the Germans and the French who said, Merkel and Hollande said, we will arm Ukraine, and we just fooled the Russians with the Minsk agreements. Okay, I have to remind you that Ukraine banned Russian-speaking language media out there and forbade the Russians to do X, Y, and Z. They sent the tanks to Donbass. It was not Donbass sending the tanks towards Kiev. I have to tell you that Kiev coup, the bloody coup with the traitors, was orchestrated by outside forces, not by the spontaneous Ukrainian uprising. It's so many, but so many things that these guys hope that we don't know. We will remember them and we will speak about them each and every time we have a chance. We're going to take them into their graves or wherever we decide to be spread it. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Or maybe left as a corpse to rot over there. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.